2018 started with me finishing my certification as a master gardener. It seemed like the snow was never going to melt. I lost my best pal, George, this year. I really miss her. Started some seeds in my sewing room and put them underneath the grow lights on the shelves. I received a shipment of Nicola and Corolla seed potatoes. In March for my birthday, I got a new wagon from my husband. Started chitting my potatoes. Anxiously awaiting the sprouting of the seeds. Chitting of the potatoes was going really well. But it kept snowing. I started getting cabin fever. I got a shipment of some fruit trees and other perennials. When the snow melted, I repotted some of the perennials so that they could get a better start. I also started some 4x4 raised beds to plant the fruit trees in. One bed has plums, peaches, and cherries. The other had apples and pears. This is a black currant. I also potted on my seed starts. Hansi got tired helping with all of that. I decided this year to try growing potatoes in buckets. My husband helped me get all of the ingredients together. I lined the buckets up on 2x4s. We drilled holes in the bottom. And I mixed together a combination of topsoil, compost, put a little bit in the bottom of the buckets, and then put the chitted potatoes on top, and then covered them up about 4 inches from the top of the buckets. I did also end up putting in bone meal and then watered them in. Also covered them with a mulch once they started sprouting. That's my cherry tree in bloom. I need to transplant that. My plant starts getting lots of sun. Horseradish is doing well. I tried growing peas on this trellis, but I didn't get a lot of peas. I didn't grow that many. Hansi taking a ride in the wagon. He's my little helper now. Planted some Swiss chard and some peppers next to the Swiss chard. I also transplanted a lot of strawberries out of the bed that I put the Swiss chard in. Found a praying mantis case. Those are my tomatoes, getting a good start. And my cabbages. That's the little cherry tree that I planted in the raised bed. The peach tree didn't make it. This is echinacea that I sprinkled a bunch of seeds in a pot. The potatoes are sprouting. That's a row of white German radish. Potatoes are really getting going good now. I added more of the potting soil as they grew up. And I transplanted in tomatoes and tomatillos in that bed, brassicas in this bed. I just used the trellis as a way to figure out where to put things. Then I covered everything with a net to keep the cabbage moths off. These are the peas that I grew. The Swiss chard really grew well in this bed, as did the peppers. I got two kinds of peppers. I thought they were both just jalapeno, but they weren't. Little bee hotel that I set up. These are the potato blossoms. I planted some calendula and echinacea. There's the potatoes again. The tomatoes grew really well. I grew them as a single stem. This is some aronia berry. I also planted aronia berry and some hazelnuts and a goji berry. That's an apple. The tomatillos here got very tall, but I didn't get any to harvest. I got sprouts of cucumber, but I didn't get any cucumbers to harvest. Must have planted them too late. These are the German white radishes. That's the Swiss chard. They just got huge. I love Swiss chard. The peppers. Like I said, it was supposed to be jalapeno, but one of the plants was something different. Malabar spinach. Tastes really good. I was surprised. Extra tomatoes I stuck in a bucket. These are my gooseberries. And I compost in an earth ball. Put a lot of garden waste in there, leaves, grass clippings, kitchen waste. The German pink tomatoes are setting really good fruit. And these are the peas that I grew. That's about all I got was one good harvest. The German white radish, they're very large, but you slice them and put them on sandwiches. That's the tomatoes growing really well. The brassicas got so large they lifted up the netting. These green beans and cucumbers I grew in those containers just did not grow very well. We got a lot of rain last year. This is my husband and Hansi and my scarecrow. The German pink tomatoes are getting very large. These are the German cherry tomatoes. The Malabar spinach grew up the trellis and outgrew the container, actually. We decided to see how the potatoes were doing, so we dumped out a couple of buckets. We didn't get a lot, but what we did get was very tasty. I think there was about 1.5 pounds there. The broccoli was very good. This is a German pink tomato. It was over 1 pound. There's my apple trees. There's a red and a golden delicious. And then plums and cherry. Little Hans. I bought some starts for kohlrabi. They were giant kohlrabi. More tomatoes. Even more tomatoes. These are the peppers that I grew. They were very tasty, actually. Sweet. And the Swiss chard. The giant kohlrabis. We dumped out the rest of the potatoes at the end of the summer. More tomatoes. Giant kohlrabi. They were really big. These are the beets and the Brussels sprouts that I grew. They didn't get very big, but we had one good meal out of them. And the end of the summer, the beds are ready for winter.